Good morning. This is the final teaching video with Bridget McKenzie, and we are learning the Bach Minuet in G, and this should be the final lesson. How do you feel?
Pretty confident.
You feel pretty confident with it? Okay.
Yeah, most of it.
Okay. So today I'd like to do a run through of the whole first section, repeats and everything, and then the next section going right into it at a consistent tempo. So let's go for it. I'm not going to use the metronome at first. We might break this out afterwards to see just how accurate her timing was. But let's go for this. Did you use a metronome when you were practicing in the last couple weeks?
I tried to use the metronome. I mean, for this beat, it was kind of hard, a little. But
The tempo?
the tempo.
beat?
Yeah.
Okay, well we can work on that.
Mm-hmm.
You want to show me what you've practiced?
Okay.
Okay. That second time through was smoother than your first time through. That was quite a hiccup. That was like panic mode. But you, even in the beginning sections, I noticed a couple mistakes too, but you did a pretty good job of keep moving on forward, which is so crucial when you're performing. Even when you mess up or if you make a mistake, to try and find it, to try and smudge it. So good job for the performance sake, carrying on and pulling through. And then the second time around, you did way better at this weird part. Maybe I'm thinking the second time around you were more confident because you had gone through, like you did it once before, it was your second time through. So that first initial time, I think that the fingering has been kind of putting you through a loop, which we refigured out. We redid your fingering. It was a week or 2 weeks ago. So I think you're still getting used to that too. And it is hard when you've started a piece, you've practiced with the fingering, and then a couple weeks in you're like, oh shoot, let's rework the fingering because this is not working. The fingering that we have chosen, I think, does work, but I noticed you're using your old fingering because when you're putting it all together and you're worried about tempo and you're worried about all sorts of things, that's kind of that kind of got put on the back burner in terms of what you remembered and what you didn't, and what you pulled together as you performed through. Can I see this part too, about this part here? Can I just see this section? And try to focus on this fingering. Do you remember the octave? Yes, yeah. To set yourself up for those, the A octave, and then that, is it the B octave coming up? Yeah, the B, B, E. B, B, E. Yeah, exactly. Let's start from here. There, but I think we need to just drill that over and over and over again so that it's embedded in your brain and it's not going to go anywhere. Overall, I think the overall message for the piece here would be to have that confidence. I'm sort of looking for that in Bach. Bach is a Baroque composer. It's very black and white. There was no pedals even. There's very little emotion, emotion and feelings. That's more of something that developed through the classical period and mostly in the Romantic, and then it moved into Impressionism and like modern music. So right now we're dealing with Baroque music, which is no emotion. Back in the Bach's time too, there was either organ or harpsichord too. They didn't have like beautiful pianos with the ability to have the dynamics that we have on a piano. A harpsichord was a very dry instrument. I've shown you a harpsichord before, right? And I can show you a movie of it later. It's a really cool instrument. But it's very dry. There's no like damper pedal that allows you to elongate the notes. It has a staccato sound the whole time. It's very choppy like that. There's not really a sense of
flowiness.
Too much legato. Even legato on the piano is about as long as that would get on a harpsichord. It's very dry. So with that in mind, you really need to stick each time that the left hand and right hand have those few parts that come together. So clunk, clunk, dun, dun, clunk, cling, 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 all those lines that I drew here, it really has to sound very, very clean, clean beginnings, clean endings. This part as well, the same thing. And something that's helped me with Bach is playing it over and over and over and getting that confidence. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that you know it. One thing that helps, we've talked about this being in a section, like a first section and a second section, which is very helpful. The nice thing about Baroque pieces is they're very mathematical, they're very easy to divide into sections. So let's do a little sectioning here. I'm not going to worry too much about the first one, but the second one, let's see about this here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's kind of a nice section, 8 measures. And then we have la 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 da 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 pause. That's another 8 measures. So 8 and 8, we kind of have a 16 measure sort of middle spot in this piece. Then we have, I'm going to think, you want to take a guess how many measures are left in this piece? Spitball.
Okay, 8.
8, all right. Let's count it out. 1, 2, da 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 da. You're correct. Yes.
Yeah,
So
I'm almost right, Grace.
yes, you are. Well, sometimes. So there's 8. So it's kind of like 8, 8, and 8. That's one way to break it up in sections. So when you practice, you can focus on the first 8 measures. I think it's near the end of your first 8 measure section that's a little weird. And then you've got this middle section, which doesn't give you as much trouble, and then the last section is kind of no problem. It's actually kind of nice when you're performing it, even though that first 8 measure section is kind of glitchy, you can kind of know in your mental head, like, the end of the piece you're super confident in. So it's sort of like, if you're struggling, the next section is better, and then the last section is you're super comfortable with, because that's what you started here. So that's gonna work for your benefit if you ever like play this for someone, and when you like perform this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I love that. So when you do this piece, it might be helpful to start with this section, then start with the first 8 measure slot, then do first 8 measures, the next 8 measures, then put it all together here, then put it all together, and then this, and then eventually when you go back to the beginning, it kind of works for, it's sort of like attacking your worst section first. So, and at this point, I mean, I know it sounds a little dismal, but at this point, as your teacher, I'm here to tell you what sounds the best and also what sounds the worst, so we can really work on the worst part. But yeah, hopefully that makes sense. Let me just check something here. Okay, so let's experiment a little bit. Let's play just the first section. I know you're comfortable with that. Let's just play the first section, and let's play it super confidently. And how would you think when I say play super confidently? What do you think of changing, or what do you think of when you think of playing confidently?
I think playing the notes clearly, like along with each other, like, in sync if they have lined up together, like just play them nice and clean, loud, or through. Okay,
maybe a little louder. Okay. What about your body? What's your body doing when you play confidently?
Up straight.
Yeah.
Just hands moving.
Yeah, awesome. Like, it's almost like I was telling this to another student. It's almost like if you were talking with someone, you wouldn't talk with them and be like, oh, hi. Like, no, if someone's talking to you and telling you information or something, the attentive thing to do would be to stand up straight and to give your focus and say, yes, I'm listening. So let's try that with this. I like what you said, just a little louder. And not necessarily like loud volume, but more decisive. So let's give it a go. You want to start from here and play it through? Okay. Let's do once more, just a teeny bit slower.
Slower.
Yeah. I mean, that's Andante and Grazia. Like, Andante, well, slow-ish is not too slow. So, I think, like... Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Yes. Let's try that. Okay. Da, 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 da. Let's do this ending again. Like really chop, chop, a little bit louder. Chop, 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 chop. Yes, the left hand is getting a little bit more decisive. It's hard, it's like a mix of staccato and legato to get the sound we want on the piano. So it's not quite, but it's not, it's kind of like a mix. Does that make sense? So let's play this once more.